Hello, I'm Mike, and this is the Bentley Bentayga. Obviously, this is not the Bentley Bentayga, it's the 2021 Genesis GV80. But looking at it, especially from this side profile, it kind of does look like the Bentley Bentayga. Doesn't it? I mean, Genesis GV80, Bentley Bentayga, Genesis GV80. The resemblance is very close, but the Bentayga was not the main competitor for this GV80. It was actually the Mercedes-Benz GLE and BMW X5. So against those two German rivals, how does this brand's first SUV compete? To find that out, let's go for a drive. The Genesis GV80 is available with two engine options. You can get a base 2.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder, which is what I have here, or a more powerful 3.5 liter twin-turbocharged V6. This turbocharged four-cylinder produces 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. The more powerful V6 produces 375 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. Here in Canada, it's only available with all-wheel drive, but if you're watching this in the United States, you can get the GV80 with all-wheel drive as well, but also with rear-wheel drive. This four-cylinder engine is adequate, is the best way that I can describe it. It is more powerful than the GLE 350, but when it's moving over 2 tons of SUV, don't expect a whole lot of blisteringly fast acceleration. It'll get you going off the line at a reasonable pace, and when you're overtaking someone on the highway, just put your foot down, the transmission will downshift, and you can easily overtake someone. But of course, if you want that really good kick to your backside, then you have to go for that twin-turbo V6. But for most people that just want to have a comfortable and relaxing drive to work or go on a long road trip, then this four-cylinder engine is more than enough. It is rated for 11.3 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. So fuel economy wise, it's actually not that bad. Paired with the engine is an 8-speed automatic transmission, and the shifts are pretty quick and very, very smooth. Just the things that you would expect from a luxury SUV. You can take over shifting duties with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Just be prepared to wait a little bit. They're not exactly the fastest, but they're okay in a tight pinch. If you do find yourself on a somewhat twisty road like how I am right now in the Genesis GV80, don't expect a very sporty drive. The Genesis GV80 was primarily designed to offer luxury and comfort, and it excels at that. But when it actually comes to providing driving pleasure, the German rivals do a better job, particularly BMW with the X5. I'm not saying that the steering is slow or that you'll crash at the first sign of a corner or anything like that. Steering is actually very direct and very responsive. It's just that it's quite light and not that much feedback to your fingertips compared to, especially, like I said, the BMW X5. So it's best to just leave the car in comfort mode and take those corners a little bit more slowly than you would in a BMW, for example. Genesis GV80s with the 2.5 liter engine like this one do not come with adaptive suspension. If you want that, you have to upgrade to the V6. However, the ride, even in this 2.5 with the just standard suspension, is still very, very good. You can feel that you've driven over a bump or some road imperfections, but you can drive over some really deep potholes without having to feel like as though your back is breaking or anything like that. The ride is fantastic, even in this base-ish trim. When it comes to noise inside the cabin, nothing squeaks, nothing rattles. The only thing that you might hear right now is just my tripod sliding around in the back. But apart from that, anything that's actually bolted onto the car, like the trim pieces or leather seats or anything like that, none of it squeaks. As for outside noises, mostly what you'll hear is road noise from the tires. Actually, this particular demo vehicle has winter tires, so they are a little bit louder than they would otherwise be if they were all-season tires, for example. Elegant is probably the best way that I can describe the interior of the Genesis GV80. There's a lot of smooth flowing lines, and all of the materials feel very top-notch, like good quality. There's leather all across the dashboard, leather along the door panels, and of course leather down here right next to the center console where your knee would rest against. Speaking of the center console, it is a floating design, so there is a little bit of storage underneath it. And on the top, it has this diamond pattern to it that mimics the front grille. The climate controls are very easy to understand. There is a touchscreen right in the center that has haptic feedback, and the rings to either side to control the temperature are knurled, which just makes it easier to grab onto. The infotainment system is very easy to use because it is a touchscreen. However, for some people, it may be a little bit of a stretch, especially to the very far right. There is a sort of a control knob, although it's not really a knob, it's more of a knurled ring with a touchpad in the center that has haptic feedback. However, if you saw my Genesis G80 review, you know that I'm not a fan of this. I much prefer to use the touchscreen. I don't understand why Genesis did it like this. I much prefer an actual knob, just like how the gear selector is, but I can live with just using the touch portion of the touchscreen. In terms of actual space in the Genesis GV80, up here in the front, there's plenty of it. Legroom and headroom, I can't really complain about it. But in the back, well, let's go and have a seat in the back to see how it is. Normally in these reviews, when I demonstrate the back seating area, I always sit behind my driving position. That way there's always a bit of consistency between all the different vehicles. However, with the Genesis GV80, it's here that you want to sit. This seat is as close as I can get it to my driving position, and there's enough legroom and enough headroom. However, there's two little buttons down here which allow me to move the seat forward. Of course, you don't want to do it when there's somebody in there unless you don't like them very much. But now you have so much more legroom, and the back seats recline. So you can be very comfortable back here. Getting the power liftgate to open can make you feel like a bit of an idiot, as it did with me the first time, because the button to lift it is neatly hidden in plain sight at the base of the windshield wiper. But you can always just stand in front of the trunk for about 3 seconds and the power liftgate will open for you as long as you have the key somewhere on you. Once open, the Genesis GV80 has quite a bit of trunk space. It boasts a maximum cargo capacity of 2,144 liters when you fold the second row seats via the buttons in the trunk or the button on the side of the seat. This being a subsidiary of Hyundai, the 2021 GV80 provides a lot of value for your money. Some gadgets that one would expect from a luxury SUV are standard, like heated front and rear seats, heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, ambient lighting, and adaptive cruise control, to name a few. Move up to this advanced trim of the GV80 with the 2.5-liter engine and a head-up display, ventilated front seats, genuine leather seating, surround view cameras, and rear sunshades are included. Opt for the top Prestige trim with the V6 engine, and the GV80 comes fully loaded with extras such as a 3D driver display. It actually uses a similar technology as the Nintendo 3DS, so you don't need glasses to see the 3D effect. The V6 also comes with a third row, soft closed doors, remote parking assist, which will move the car forwards or backwards without anyone in the driver's seat with the remote. There's also Napa leather upholstery, ventilated second row seats, and of course the twin-turbocharged V6 engine. As for how the GV80 looks, like I said at the start of the video, from some angles it kind of looks like a Bentley Bentayga. At least to me it does. Maybe if you squint your eyes you might see it too. But anyway, the exterior is much more in your face in terms of design. The front grille encompasses almost the entirety of the front bumper. You can't miss it even if you're blind in one eye. The headlights have horizontal lines for the daytime running lights and turn signals. These lines continue onto the side for the turn signals and around back for the taillights. As well, the exhaust pipe outlets are in the same shape of the front grille, so you'd better get used to seeing that shape if you plan on buying a GV80. The 2021 Genesis GV80 starts at $65,000 Canadian. This advanced 2.5 trim costs $70,000 Canadian. If you spec one of these up with the V6 engine and the topmost Prestige trim, you're looking at around $85,000 Canadian, and that's before fees and taxes. Add those in and it's probably going to be close to $100,000. 6 figures for a Genesis badge, that's a lot. The Genesis badge just doesn't quite have the same prestigiousness as the BMW or Mercedes-Benz badge. I'm sure in a few years' time and maybe another generation of Genesis GV80, it might get closer to it. But for now, if you want that prestigiousness, for lack of a better word, BMW and Mercedes-Benz are the ones to look at. However, if you want value for your money, this is the one to go for. For example, if we take this 2.5 Advance and compare it against the Mercedes-Benz GLE 350, you'd have to add on close to about $10,000 worth of packages to that Mercedes-Benz to have the same features as this GV80 has. So, bang for your buck, this one. Prestigiousness, Mercedes or BMW. Anyway, if you want to know more about this 2021 Genesis GV80, I wrote a more detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck, or it'll probably be another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.